Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're live. We're back to talk SEC with myself, Matt, and AP, and we are joined by the creator, the owner, the guy behind it all of Pick Six Previews, Brett Ciancia.
Yep, you got
Ciancia.
it.
All right, let's go.
Ah.
Let's go. That's right, baby. I can read today. I can read. Glasses on, locked in. Let's go, baby. You hear it. Brett, how are you doing on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon in the middle of SEC Media Days? And thank you again for taking the time to join us here today.
Yeah, of course. Well, thanks for having me. It's SEC Media Days, but it's really Pick Six Preview Media Days because this is
Let's
my
go.
seventh show of the day. I got seven shows
Jesus.
today, probably about 15 more the next couple of days. So it's been very busy, but this is the best time of year. I love going all across the country talking about the upcoming season, and it's a good time too because I just published the 2026 edition, the Preview magazine. So that's published. It's coming off the printing press. The hard copies are shipping across the country.
Let's
And
go.
just really excited to break it down with you guys. Lots to get into. SEC, a ton of topics to cover. So I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely,
So,
man. Go
so
ahead, Matt.
Brett, let's dive in let's start with the magazine. You've been doing it for a long time now. I want to say since 2010, 2011.
Yeah, 2012. So 15th annual over here.
Oh wow.
Sounds
What
crazy to
made
say out
you
loud.
what made you want to create a college football preview magazine and when there was already so many, Phil Steele, you had Athlon, ESPN, etc. What made you want to create Pick Six Previews?
Yeah, well, I'd say first and foremost, it's a love of college football. Growing up, I love the sport. I love the traditions, the rivalries, the passion, even the different styles of play. You didn't really see that on Sundays in the NFL. And where I grew up, it's a really pro sports town and area. I'm outside of Philadelphia. So, I mean, I'm not that into the pro sports scene. So I love college sports. So I was really drawn to it. And I kept doubling down and trying to research more and learn more, watch more. And I read all the magazines when I was growing up. And I liked bits and pieces from each of them, but it was never like the full product of what I would have wanted and envisioned. So eventually I just said, screw it, let's make my own and, make it out exactly every bit of detail that I would look for myself because I assumed other readers would be looking for the same stuff. And, I've got a mind for math too, a numbers mind, and I was able to design some formulas, my game grader formula, my opponent adjusted metrics, and that sounds like a lot of junk, but like I put it into readable terms and it's all color coded. That way you can learn more about what happened last year and what to expect in the upcoming year. So I would say all that combined, just a love of college football, my numbers mind, and trying to put it back into readable terms. But I love the whole process, talking to head coaches, talking to coordinators, doing as many shows as I can, and learn about all these teams. So yeah, it's a one-man company, and here we are 15 years in.
Man, that's a fantastic story.
Thank
And
you.
the fact that you could take a product like a magazine in the digital age, right, that we're in, and have the inspiration and the motivation to build off of other products that have been around for years, have a clear vision and ways to improve it, and not just take it to the magazines and the other products that are out there, but it's, like I'm gonna make this better. What keeps you going? What keeps you driving to make it pushing the line to make your product continue to stay ahead of the curve and be that difference that you set for it to be when you started?
Really early on in the process, we found that there was a site called Stasson.com, and they grade all the preview magazines in terms of how accurate their predictions are. So I'm a competitive guy. When I saw that, I was all in. I wanted to win it and beat all these other legacy brands with hundreds of writers, hundreds of staff and editors and marketing teams. And as a one-man show, I went out and did it. The last 10-year title, over 10 years, I've beaten them
Let's
all.
go.
It's a point of pride for me, and I try and gun for that every year. So yeah, that's a key part of it. But I want to just give the reader the most information possible. I know that there's so much content out there nowadays, a lot of it free. So if someone's gonna buy my book, I want to give them above and beyond what they're getting, and I feel I've done that again. And you can see some samples and testimonials online and all on my website. But yeah, just that, and then the motivation to keep growing the business, being able to work for myself is really motivated me to keep doubling down on it and keep building it. So. And then lastly, being a national type of publication, I do all 68 teams. So being able to connect with so many writers across the country and media members and analysts and TV announcers, like just the whole network has been fun to get to know everybody. So I've loved every second of it.
Man, I can dig in on that too, man. But go ahead, Matt. I know you got another question lined up, so and I don't want to hog all the questions because I would be greedy.
I just have one more before we move on into the actual SEC. You talked 15 years. You've probably talked with a lot of head coaches, a lot of media members, things like that in those 15 years. Do you have a moment, memory, conversation, etc., that kind of sticks out to you while you were creating this magazine?
That's such a good question, man. Well, I think of always like the first time I went and was able to be a credentialed media member on the sidelines. I was at Nebraska, got to be on the field. It felt so surreal, because I didn't come up through the journalism field. I mean, I'm a CPA, I'm an accountant by trade. I went to business school. So like breaking into this field, like all these first moments were really pretty epic for me. Like the first stadium game, first time on TV, first time on the radio, first podcast, like all those firsts. I would also say the first time that the book came to life, because it was digital for the first 12 or 11 or 12 years of it. Finally in 2021, I said, let's go print. And so seeing the actual hard copy, come to life, it makes it feel like a real product even more. So that was very surreal. But those are some of the first, maybe the first coach interview. I remember it was Brian Hartline when he was the receivers coach at Ohio State. I couldn't believe that any coach would take the time to talk to me. Now I'm talking to 30, 40 every offseason. But I would just say, the firsts of all these kind of categories really stood out to me.
Man, that's interesting that you say that, because as I'm breaking into this media industry, for myself personally, Matt's been in it for a while, but this is like my first real full go into it, and I've been able to accomplish a lot of success so far early on. But I can definitely relate to those first. Like I cherish all of the first. Like the first subscriber on YouTube, the first guest I had on, the first spot I was able to do, like all those hit home with me. So everything that you're saying right now, like that pulls at my heartstrings, man. Let's get into this SEC talk, because SEC media days are hot right now. You had Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, and in Florida today. John Sumrall, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Elko, and Pete Golding all did a phenomenal job at the microphone today. But in your magazine, you break down the conference as a whole for the SEC was pretty bad at running the football. How can you see them improving as a conference for 2026?
Well, I think it all starts with talent acquisition. You look at the high school pipeline, the recruiting pipeline, and the transfer portal. And as I'm doing all four power conferences, you see the movement of players one direction. It's like the all Big 12, the all ACC, they're all moving up to the SEC and the Big 10. It doesn't go the other way. So a lot of the top talent is shifting into the SEC. And you see that along the offensive line. I mean, not only the All-American and all SEC teams, I put in the book now an all-transfer team because there's so much player movement and we want to see who the best transfers are. And you look at the offensive line in the SEC, it was hard to pick and choose. There were so many candidates. I mean, Jordan Seaton going to LSU from Colorado, the number one overall offensive lineman in the whole portal. Lance Hurd, Colton Price, Jacarius Peak, Ciancia going to Texas. Like, there's just so many. So I would say to upgrade your running games, it's all about getting big guys in the trenches. And that's what the SEC did this offseason, I feel, from the transfer portal.
One guy you mentioned there was Jordan Seaton, the number one overall offensive lineman transfer coming to LSU.
That's right. That's right. He's at LSU, not at Ole Miss. That's right.
Yeah, he's not at Ole Miss. He is at LSU. One thing that's really interesting, especially this week with SEC Media Days, is how much the pressure with Lane Kiffin has ramped up. Right? You have Paul Feinbaum saying it's CFP or nothing. And while I tend to maybe agree with that, Chase Daniel saying he has to win a national championship in year one is kind of wild in my opinion. I know he's got the richest roster in football, the number one portal class, all those things. But do you find that the pressure against Lane Kiffin is maybe a little bit too far, or do you think that it's justified?
I think that the high pressure that's being put on him is coming from national media. I don't know that people within the LSU community feel that way. It seems like a disconnect. It seems like the SEC network is putting all the national title or bust. I think LSU fans are. I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but I would view it as
you can speak first. You can speak for us. Go ahead, talk.
I'm thinking Yeah, I'm thinking you're pumped to get Kiffin. I think you're pumped to see all these transfers come in, the number one class in the country. And you might understand that, hey, he wants to be there. He wants to be there intermediate to longer term. And it might take a year or two to really win a national title. You know, it doesn't tend to happen in the first year. With that said, I think they certainly want to make a playoff. I think that's the standard. It's a 12-team bracket. And you spent a ton of money on this transfer class. But no, I think that, I mean, again, I think the perspective is we're pumped that we got Kiffin. We're pumped we got 50 new transfers coming in, the number one QB, the number one offensive tackle, the number one defensive lineman. So I think they're through the roof on that. I think you're going to see competent, competitive football again, and then see where the chips fall in the bracket. I mean, you can't, nobody can go into the year thinking national title or bust. That's just insane. So I think that they should be ecstatic at LSU. They got him. And this team looks awesome, man. And I will say that there's some truth to it, because when you look at NFL draft projections, I know we're early, but 2027 consensus mock draft, number one in draft picks, LSU. So they have the NFL talent there. It's a matter of how quickly can they gel.
You don't say now.
Right. And they get hit hard in September, though. So hopefully it gels quick, because you got a road trip to Ole Miss and you got A&M coming into Baton Rouge. Those are two playoff caliber teams. So we'll learn early on how that went.
LSU has a chance to go 4-0 or 2-2 in September, but that doesn't determine what kind of team that they'll be. September does not make or break that team. This is a team that will be better the later that the season gets, as long as they stay healthy. Plain and simple. And that's how I view it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but you want to win those, because you want to hold those mulligans. You know what I mean? You want to have those chips on your side.
Exactly.
You know? They're definitely going to improve. I agree with you, but you want to be improving off 4-0. It'd be great, or 3-1.
That's exactly where I was going. You would much rather go into October 4-0 than going in 3-1 or 2-2. It just makes it that it sets up the schedule a lot better for you. And building off the question that Matt just asked, let's go to the opposite side. The school in Oxford, as I referred to them as, Ole Miss, the bitter rivals of the state of Louisiana, now apparently since November 30th, 2025, because we didn't care about them on November 29th. They are coming off of literally a college football playoff appearance. They were one play away from making the national championship game. But it's all quiet when we're looking at Oxford for them having the national championship aspirations or bust type of talk. Pete Golding is essentially in his first year, and while I think highly of Pete Golding, I think he's going to do really good. Honestly, I think he's playing with house money. This isn't a job that he was seeking. It's a job that he was blessed for an opportunity to have, and I think that he's grateful to have it. I think he's a player's coach, but you can see sometimes his defense lacks an attention to detail. They can sometimes overlook an opponent's offense. I mean, they gave up 38 to Gunnar Stockton in Georgia multiple times. And Charlie Weiss Jr. and Trinidad Chambers had to put a cape on to bail them out. Why is it that the national media is kind of overlooking them? And what are fair expectations for Ole Miss going into this year?
Yeah, great questions. And when I'm doing my research and putting together the magazine, I really try and hide and put away all the other national noise, so I, get my own original thought and predictions in there. Then, of course, I catch up and see where everyone else is. I put Ole Miss in my playoff bracket. I thought that was a no-brainer, and it looks like that's now all of a sudden a hot take now that you look around the landscape.
Right.
But I really like Ole Miss, and here's why. I mean, normally with a coaching change, I'm a little skeptical, but we've already seen this team for Pete Golding. They played really well. Inspired football there in January. And I know that they bring Trinidad Chambliss back, the All-American running back Lacey back, the interior of their offensive line back. So I feel good about offense. And if you want to talk about losing the Kiffin scheme, they just hired John David Baker, who coming in, he says he's going to keep it 90% the same scheme. So I feel really confident that it's going to look like Ole Miss looked last year on offense. But what elevates them this time around, now that Pete Golding's in charge, he said that he put a lot more of his funding into the defensive side of the transfer portal, and money where his mouth is. They signed 8 4-stars on the defensive side. That's unbelievable if you follow transfers. So I think they're upgrading their defense overnight, and you have a complete team here. I think we'll return to the bracket.
That's so fair.
And
I really sound like I'm stomping for Ole Miss. I'm sorry, Matt, but it's,
I agree with it as much as it kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth to say that I think Ole Miss is going to be good. It's really funny that we do this, because like AP said, outside of a handful of times in my lifetime, I can't remember having pure hatred for Ole Miss, and maybe that's the new generation of SEC football fans, because I know older LSU fans have a lot of hatred for Ole Miss. I never really did, but now it's just fun to buy into it with all the Lane Kiffin mess. But anyways,
Yeah,
let's talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, the defending SEC champions. One thing that really stands out to me about their season last year was that in 7 of their 8 conference games, they trailed. And 4 of them had to be come from behind victories. Now, I know that there's a lot of luck involved in football and in sports in general. It's hard to get the help of the football gods that many times in a season. So how do you think Kirby Smart and his staff, with more experience with Gunnar Stockton now, how do they turn that around and maybe have some leads in the second and third quarter to where they can just put the game away in the fourth?
Yeah, no, I like that. And I liked one of Kirby Smart's quotes after one of those close comeback wins. They asked him and he said, "Hey, I don't write the scripts. It's they just do what they can to win." So, but yeah, I think it's great game day coaching. I don't think he gets enough credit for this, but his in-game adjustments, his awareness in these key situations, he's really sharp with that stuff. And that might be the difference in some one-score games. But yeah, a lot of close calls last year. You think of the Auburn game at the goal line, the Tennessee comeback win, just so many of them. So I think they're going to be stronger this year. Defense definitely takes a step forward. They bring back a lot. I think they go 3 deep on their defensive line. I think 8 out of 9 of their 3 deep are back. 5 stars at linebacker, and then 2 All-Americans in the secondary. So it's like a classic Kirby Smart championship defense on that side. You have 4 linemen back on the offensive line, I believe, 3 or 4. Some big names there, some future NFLers. What else? Running backs are both 5-star guys.
Their running back room is so deep.
It's overflowing.
Man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And then and Gunnar Stockton. And here's the thing with Stockton. I get asked this a lot about him. And it's those buzzwords you hear a lot: clutch, winner. But he actually plays up to those standards. Like if you look at his fourth quarter passing stats, he's number 1 in the country. So I like him as a leader for the team. Now, I think they're going to win the SEC or at least play for it. To make it to that national title stage, I think one room has to really improve. That's the receivers. They need some big play threats to emerge, like a true number 1 overall, or I'm sorry, a first round type pick at receiver to emerge on the outsides. They have names on paper, but I need them to step up and become alpha dogs out there.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, I know that there's a lot of talk around Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin and John Summer, all the hot new names that are coming in. But we can't forget that Kirby Smart is from the tree of Nick Saban. And when we talk about somebody being the standard within the conference, hell, even across the country, we need to start at Kirby Smart's name. And we can't forget where he comes from and that tree branches all the way down into Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for as much as I hate to say the name of that place. But when we talk about Alabama, they're looking to repeat and get back to the SEC championship. They struggled last year. I mean, it was not good. Their offense hit a wall. They couldn't run the ball consistently. Defensively, they looked like they were a shell of themselves. Ryan Cooper Williams was one of the worst sophomore slumps you could have thought to imagine, coming from a 17-year-old kid who was a phenom as a true freshman to being this 18-year-old sophomore who couldn't catch COVID if he walked into a hospital room and gave himself the sickness if he wanted to. Like, he just couldn't do it. It was a struggle. What can Alabama do to get this thing right? If we're looking at Keelan Russell or Austin Mack, to get them back to where they need to be?
Yeah. Well, looking back on last year, it just didn't seem like the usual Alabama team. You think of Alabama, you think run the ball, stop the run, and they couldn't do either one. Offensive line was really poor in the run game. It actually graded out as their worst rushing attack in Alabama history. Since they've been keeping stats 100 years, it was their worst one. So that's just hard to believe. And they lose 4 starting linemen off of that bunch too. So questions galore. In fact, I've been doing this 15 years, like we said. This is the most questions I've ever seen on an Alabama roster here in the preseason. I'd started this thing during the Saban dynasty. All those years they were in the playoff, national title games. there's a lot of questions here, and it's not really even quarterback. I actually like both of the quarterbacks. I think they got home runs with both guys. I mean, Russell more of a scrambler, dual threat type. Austin Mack, the passer, who has more experience in the grub offense. I like both quarterbacks. It's lines of scrimmage. They got to show me more there. So yeah, I have a lot of questions. I've got them down there at 16th in the country. It feels strange to write that, but they finished 14th in my formula last year. So I just see about the same, maybe a slightly less version of last year, and that's where they grade
I love
out.
to hear it. I love to hear it. I love to hear it.
Yeah. As two LSU guys, anytime we hear of Alabama struggles,
Right.
we're
to hear it.
A-okay with that.
I'm not gonna hide my bias. I'm gonna be who I am.
Right. As a reminder, we're talking with Brett Ciancia of Pick Six Previews. Now let's talk about the Texas Longhorns. Steve Sarkisian, obviously looking to get back into that CFP conversation after a couple of years in a row of getting there. And one thing that I noticed is Arch Manning kind of had his growing pains last year, right? First time starter, that's obviously to be expected. How do you make things easier for him? You put weapons around him. And Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns have done that. You've got them ranked third at receivers and tight ends, fourth at running back. Cam Coleman obviously is the highlight in that skill position group. The transfer from Auburn. What do you make of Texas this season? What are you kind of expecting early on from them?
I think you summed it up really well, actually, because that was really the storyline last year was Arch Manning. He came in as the preseason Heisman favorite, number one on the big board. So I was shocked to see that, and he played like a first-time starter in September. He was actually booed off the field at one point by some Longhorns fans. So, but to his credit, he hunkered down and really played some solid football down the stretch. Probably the most growth throughout the season of 2025. Looking at quarterbacks, I think he was average the first half, maybe top 10 down the stretch, and outclassed Marcel Reed there at the A&M game at the end. So very impressed with how he finished. And you're right. You summed it up because their big moves in the portal are more pieces around him to throw to and hand the ball off to. Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown, both all-conference guys in the running back room. Cam Coleman, look, I'll go Jeremiah Smith, number one at receiver in the country. Maybe Malachi Toney as a slot, but number two overall, I would go Cam Coleman. I mean, this guy's dynamic, and you have him now. Who are you going to double team? If you double team Coleman, you got Ryan Wingo, another five-star streaking down the field. You got tight ends to throw to. So it's he's got everything he wants on the offense. The only thing is maybe some youth in the secondary. If you really have to pick at it a little bit, maybe some run game, offensive line run push has been below average for me a couple seasons now in a row for Texas. So maybe a boost there. So yeah, all that to say, a top 10 team they should be back in the playoff bracket, and I have them third in the SEC, right, almost tied with Oklahoma, but right outside the title game.
So don't sleep on Hayward Howard Jr. I have a personal family bias. That's my nephew over at Texas. That's my guy, the best defensive back out of the state of Louisiana last year from Edna Carr, and he's turning some heads over at Texas. He might get some early run, so we'll see how that goes. And I hope that they lose every game.
I mean, it's youth, but you're right. It's like five-star blue chip talent. So
it's like elite talent.
And they have a nice coach to coach him up too, with Muschamp coming back. He had success here back in the day before his SEC head coaching run, but as a defensive coordinator, he's as good as they come. So I really like him in that role. Coach Boom, as they call him. I'm excited to see him. So, a lot to like from Texas. They were one of the storylines of the whole offseason, and we'll see if they can back it up.
Talking about this, since you mentioned Will Muschamp, it caused something to my memory. Gene Chizik was on set on SEC Media Days earlier, and they were talking about Muschamp coming back, but how different of an era it is. You no longer have the 3 to 4 years to develop guys. It's more of a right now type of thing. And Muschamp thrived in an era where you had 3 or 4 years to get guys acclimated to your system and your program and how you run your defense. How do you think that's going to translate for him coming back now for this Texas defense? Do you think that he's able to make that impact and get these young guys up to speed very quickly? Hell, even some of the veterans who've been around who have to get used to his type of defense.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, scheme changes. You have to be that much quicker with installation now because, you don't have these guys 3, 4, 5 years as frequently. I don't know. I think I would just say everyone's on the same boat. I mean, the offensive coordinators that were hired, they have the same quick turnaround time to get their thing installed. So I don't really think of that as much. I think that they'll be fine. And a lot of times, honestly, guys, it's pure talent rises to the top, and Texas is fully loaded. I mean, it is a 5-star roster, so there's really no excuse for them this year.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Matt.
One more team that I really want to focus on is South Carolina. I've always been higher on Shane Beamer than probably most people. I think he's a hell of a ball coach. He had a great mentor growing up, right? And I think he's got the coaching, knack. But my issue with it is sometimes the roster at South Carolina doesn't seem all the way put together, right? Lenora Sellers is great. Dylan Stewart on the edge is great. Nick Harbor at receiver is great. But you don't really hear anything about their offensive line. You don't really hear anything about their secondary, right? Like, as a complete unit, South Carolina's just not there. How much more time do you give Shane Beamer in Columbia?
Wow. Well, that's a tough one. I mean, it's I think they like him there, and I think that their expectations have to be scaled down a little bit. I mean, you have to know who you are a little bit, and that's not to say they shouldn't aspire to be a dynasty type team too. But I mean, they don't have the recruiting, budgets and geography and resources that some of these superpowers have. So if you're getting competent football bowl seasons, maybe the occasional 9-win, 10-win threat, I think you keep him. I don't know what they're feeling down there, so I'll stay out of that one. But I think he's got some talent there, and I think he nailed the offensive coordinator hire with Kendall Briles.
Yes,
because he's got a good track record, especially with that type of quarterback. You think if he's coached
that
RG3,
development. Oh man,
coach RG3, De'Ara King, KJ Jefferson. These are athletic dual threats, and I think Lenora Sellers fits in perfectly. But
glad we're not playing them this year.
Yeah, and you're right about the offensive line. And I've been on, if you know Chris Phillips, he does a great show. He used to be South Carolina centric. I was on his show every summer doing our summer preseason hit. I love doing it with him. And it seemed like every single year, my complaint with South Carolina in the preseason was offensive line. When are they going to fix the offensive line? So it is still a problem when you look at the rest of the roster because they have great pieces at receiver, D line. The defense usually above average as a unit in general. But offensive line, until they fix it, they remain in the bottom half of the conference.
Look, it's interesting that Matt was bringing up the coaching structure around South Carolina. Another name that was kind of bubbling during the coaching search this offseason, well, end of season, because it wasn't really offseason, was Eli Drinkwitz. He was kind of like the bridesmaid, but never the bride. He was always everybody's second or third option for these bigger programs. But Missouri ends up giving him a bigger extension because they love what he's been able to do. He's made them relevant. I mean, I'm going to say a contender, but they're relevant. They're consistent. They're in conversations to win 8-9 games. I think South Carolina and Missouri, honestly, kind of resemble each other. Like where Missouri is kind of where South Carolina should be trying to be. But do you think Missouri can become a contender? Because their running game is really good.
Yeah. Well, if he had it his way, he'd be a playoff team already because he wants to have 68 teams in the bracket or something. He wants a March Madness. So he would be a playoff team in his world. No, I think he's done a nice job recruiting there. He's really rose the talent profile of Missouri. They never used to land top 10, top 15 classes until his new marketing movement there, the new zoo movement. So hats off to what he's been able to do there, bringing in talent. He's also done well with coordinator hires. I love his defenses every year. But my question for them this year, it is not the usual reload. You're talking rebuild. I mean, it's all 11 starters from defense are gone.
Yes.
New quarterback. Most of the receivers are new. I know you have the best running back duo in the country, and they're going to run the ball hard. But the pass game was pretty broken last year, and just way too much roster change for me to call for a playoff run or anything like that. So, solid, maybe fringe top 25, top 30 team. But, it's just so much change. And it's just keeping up with the rest of the pack here. I mean, they recruit well, but so does the other, 15 teams.
15 teams.
Yeah.
Speaking of the other teams, what about Vanderbilt then, real quick? What are your thoughts on Clark Lee and Vanderbilt? Same build.
I was really impressed with them last year. That's an all-time, just generational season for Vanderbilt. It was cool to
Literally.
see. I'm worried about the Pavia effect, and I mean this positively for him. I mean, he did so much for that offense, that team.
Yes.
When plays were broken down, he was going off script and scrambling, put up a ton of yards. I think he was the lead rusher too. So
Yes.
I worry once you take him out of the equation, I think all the rest is going to struggle together. I know they got a great 5-star coming in, and Jared Curtis, true freshman, but I think Pavia was special in terms of how he played. So when you look at the fundamentals, if you will, like all the high school recruiting, the transfer recruiting, the mock NFL draft picks, Vanderbilt's dead last in all those talent categories. They can prove me wrong again, but I think that the Pavia effect, it's going to leave a big hole in that team.
Well, welcome back to doormat season, Vanderbilt.
At least you've got Nashville and the Tennessee River.
Right.
We'll see. Yeah, but never doubt Clark Lee. I mean, whenever
No,
you doubt
I love
the guy,
Clark Lee.
yeah, he doubles down. Now I have him 15th. I feel bad doing it because I know they're going to pull some upsets and move up that ladder a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see how bad they miss Pavia.
5 new head coaches in the Southeastern Conference this year.
6.
6 new head coaches in the Southeastern Conference. John Summerall at Florida, Alex Golish at Auburn, Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas, Will Stein over at Kentucky. You've got
Golding at
Pete
Ole
Golding
Miss.
at Ole Miss,
And Lane at LSU.
and then Lane Kiffin at LSU. Not really counting Lane Kiffin because he's been in the SEC. Of the 5 coaches that, outside of a game or two have 0 SEC head coaching experience, who are you really looking to take an immediate leap in terms of, recruiting, on game day decisions, things like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to say Pete Golding because we've already got a little peek behind the curtain. We've already gotten to see them in playoff action, and they really
Not
impressed
fair.
me.
That's cheating.
But yeah, so I'm not gonna use that answer. I'm gonna put that one away. We talked enough Ole Miss, but I really like what Alex Golish has done at Auburn so far. And I love when a head coach comes in and if he recognizes that one side of the ball was strong, he keeps that side intact. And what he did with Auburn, I thought it was a solid defense last year. Kept their coordinator DJ Durkin to coach the defense. And then that allowed them to retain several starters. I mean, Xavier Atkins is a returning All-American at linebacker.
Don't remind me about Debo, man.
Yeah.
That was ours.
So, yeah.
Matt House.
Of course. Well, they kept the defense intact, and that was their strength. But then he brought his entire USF offense with him, and this was a top 5 unit. It was a G5 offense, but looking stat-wise, top 5 passing attack, everything. Quarterback, 5 receivers, like 4 linemen, the whole thing. So you're taking his great top 5 offense, pairing it with Auburn's existing defense. I think they can make some noise. I have them, I think, 25th in the country, right there in the top 25.
Nice. So I've talked about this with Matt previously. I've talked about it with other people too. When you talk about Alex Golish, I think what we don't give enough credit to is a role that he played in keeping that Tennessee offense humming. And since he's left, it's been good. It just hasn't been what it was when Josh Heupel first took the job at Rocky Top. Where do you see Tennessee kind of ending up this season with no clear path at quarterback, returning a very good running back room, but offensive line questions? Who's going to be the star or playmaker at receiver? What's their defense going to look like in the trenches? There's just a lot more questions and answers, and a lot of people are putting an expectation that this could potentially be a playoff team. And I get playing at Neyland is a challenge, but when you're playing against a first-time starting quarterback, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Tennessee. I was saving them if you were going to ask me for my sleeper pick because I think they're kind of a sleeper here. Very quiet offseason, well, compared to last year's Nico offseason, that whole drama in 2025. But very quiet this time around, and they bring a lot back. They bring, 4 starters off the offensive line, 8 starters on offense, I think, in total, off a team that put up 40 points a game. Defense, I'd love to hire. Jim Knowles coming in could be the best defensive mind in the country, at least in that tier. So I think an instant improvement on defense. And normally you're right about this with the new quarterbacks. I'd be cautious. But if there's anybody to do it, it's Josh Heupel, because think of last offseason. They brought Joey Aguilar over.
Man.
I think it was June. It was like June or July.
Yeah, June. He got him late.
Yeah, no spring ball and got him up to speed so quick. He finished number 2 in the conference in passing. So I like him with quarterbacks. I don't care who they pick out of the two candidates. They're both blue chip recruits. I think somebody will emerge. It's probably the true freshman.
He even said that Ryan Staub has a chance at it too.
Maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's it too.
Either, hey, that means he's really improved because that's a deep room. I mean, that's a talented room. And I trust Heupel with anybody. I mean, he could probably coach the three of us up at quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
This guy's a quarterback guru. So if
that's why
I'm
not taking that as just like a throwaway. The fact that he went out of his way to mention that it's between all three of them, he sees something there.
Yeah, if that's Tennessee's big question, quarterback, then sign me up because I know they'll get that position fixed. So, yeah, I put them 15th in the country. That's up there 7th in the SEC, and really a coin flip game or two away from the playoff bracket. That's just how it is in the SEC. You're all going to be in that 8-4, 9-3 area, and if a couple games go your way, you're in the bracket.
Look, Brett, I'm looking over at the magazine, and you have Georgia 1, Oklahoma and Texas tied for 2. Obviously, we know that in the SEC, there's always upsets and a ton of drama down here in the South. Who is playing in that first weekend or second weekend in December for an SEC title in Atlanta?
Yeah, well, I think Georgia is set to return to Atlanta again. I think it's probably the most talented team. If you go top to bottom, I love their defense. We talked about it earlier. Schedule draw was great for them. They only play 3 of the top 8. It's the best schedule draw in the conference, as if they needed any extra help. So I think they're certainly there. And then it became a wide open debate. Who's going to play them? I went Oklahoma, and we talked earlier. I love their defense. I think the big gamble is that offense. I think that if Mateer back healthy with his healthy hand and a second year in the SEC, younger offensive line growing up, I think there's enough there on offense to see a complete championship caliber team. So I have Georgia playing Oklahoma. No matter the result, both making the playoff bracket in January, along with Texas and Ole Miss as the 4th spot.
Oh, so it sounds like LSU is getting left at the altar on the playoff.
Yeah, LSU. Spot. Yeah, exactly. And this one became a bigger topic for me looking at conference breakdown because I think it's going to be 4 Big Ten versus 4 SEC bids this year.
I said 2, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last year it was 5-3, SEC with 5. And I think now with a 9th round of conference games, it's just numbers. Yep. Now you're giving each other another loss, you know?
Everybody's got to take a seat back.
I can hear the debates already, the 9-3 arguments coming about whose 9-3s are better. And we're going to go through that whole song and dance in November. But I think ultimately, especially with the recent national titles from the Big Ten, I think they're going to just split it. 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC. And I draw the line there with Ole Miss beating LSU for the 4th spot. But that could flip.
Yeah, maybe but you got LSU is going to beat them in Oxford, so we're going to throw that out the window. That's how. Now I'm just playing. Well, if that's your 4 for the SEC, who's the team outside of Tennessee? Who's your team in the conference where you're like, all right, this team can be fun. They may not win a lot, but this is my dark horse team I want to pay attention to. This is the one I want to see, like where the season starts and where it ends for them.
I mean, we just talked about them, but maybe Auburn. I just think it is very intriguing to me seeing this USF offense basically picked up on like a conveyor belt and dropped into Auburn, Alabama. So if that clicks, if Byron Brown is as advertised, and if that translates up to the SEC, those are major ifs. But if a lot of that clicks, then this is a dynamic team that could surprise some folks. So look at Auburn as a surprise type team. The rest, I mean, can you really call A&M a surprise? I mean, they're in the preseason top 15 most places. Alabama, you can't really call a surprise. They're Alabama. So
right.
I'll go Auburn. Maybe way down the radar, but maybe Kentucky. I really like talking to Will Stein this year. I like his attitude. He's no excuses. He doesn't care about their recent struggles. He loaded up their transfer portal, rebuilt the offensive line. So maybe Kentucky to scare some folks, pull some upsets, get back to bowl season.
Let me slip in one more because you brought in Kentucky and it made me think about something. What are your thoughts on Joe Sloan as being the primary play caller for Kentucky? After seeing what he was able to do at LSU for the past 2 seasons, the inconsistencies with the running game, some questionable play calling down the stretch, dealing with a hurt Garrett Nussmeier, dealing with the limited Michael Van Buren, offensive line when it goes out of sync. What are your thoughts knowing now that he's going to be the primary play caller? Is Joe Sloan a better offensive coordinator, and can he elevate that Kentucky Wildcat offense from what it was a season ago?
tough because when you hire a guy like Will Stein, I mean, he himself was one of the best coordinators in the country. And when you hire such a guru on one side of the ball, I feel like you're getting that guy's offense. So I feel like you're getting Will Stein's offense, not so much Joe Sloan's. So I know he is calling plays, but I think you're going to get the Will Stein effect more. So I'm going to go with that. I really like what he did at Oregon. And then again, through the portal this time in the offseason, big offensive line. Kenny Minchie from Notre Dame coming down. This is a guy barely lost to CJ Carr for the starting job at Notre Dame. So, I'm not calling for a playoff or like a top 25 type thing, but they could pull a couple upsets, and I think they're laying the foundation going forward the right way at Kentucky. So I think Will Stein's a great coach. We'll go with that.
Absolutely.
Brett, before we let you run, man, because I know you got a busy schedule, a lot of people want to talk to you. Tell our listeners and our viewers where they can find more information about your magazine and maybe buy a copy.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's pick6previews.com. It's only available on the website. We have the hard copy magazines. It's all 68 Power 4 teams, all broken down, graphics, stack graphics. If you buy the hard copy, you get the digital right away. I email it over to you. That way, for a couple days while it's being shipped to you, you can read it right away. If you like the magazine, you'll love the in-season product called Pick 6 Plus. It's every Tuesday an email that hits your inbox. All the updated stats, numbers, my picks, against the spread stuff, all the Vegas trends, everything you want in a manual every Tuesday. So that's all in there. They got testimonial samples on the website there, pick6previews.com.
Man, Brett, I might have to reach out to you, talk to you about some sponsorships, man. Especially with that weekly newsletter, you might be able to do some segments on the show, bro. Because that's like I said, the magazine itself is wonderful, loaded with information, and anybody who's not using it or if you're just a college football junkie like myself, you can't get enough of it. This is the type of information that you want. You want to become a more informed fan. You want to become a more informed observer of the sport. The best way to do it is to study, prepare yourself going into games, and then refer back to the notes that you had. See how the game turned out. And most of the time, I got Brett is right more times than not. So, Brett, I can't thank you enough for joining us today, man.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Great conversation. Good luck with the podcast this fall. And, hopefully we'll reconnect during the season, see how these picks turned out. Hopefully you're sitting there with an undefeated LSU team. We'll see.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Wouldn't that be a beautiful world?
So let's go ahead and book it. Let's try to get Brett back on the week before the week of Ole Miss.
That could be the game of the year, the whole landscape of college football. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to book that now. We claim you, Brett, for that week.
Yeah, you got it.
Brett, appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And there he goes, Brett Ciancia of Pick 6 Previews. Man, what a conversation.
Man, talk about, bro. Like, that was absolutely fun. Like, I loved it. Brett did a fantastic job. And if you guys, I shared the link to the website and his Twitter handle in the chat. So please, everybody who's watching, whether you're watching live now or you're watching it on a playback later, please hit the link. Go support our guy. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Pick 6 Previews, as twisted as my tongue was just now. This is how much information that they give you. Like, it is worth
it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Absolutely insane. Like I said, Matt shared the magazine with me yesterday. I tried to go through it, and I was like, I'm not gonna get through it.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so much information.
It's so much information, but it's built out right, because you shouldn't get through it in a one down sit. You need to sit with it. You need to revisit it. If you want to review a team, you can go through them thoroughly, get their hits, get their colds, and then you'll be more informed about it. I mean, it's a fantastic job. Fantastic.
So I wanted to pull up Randy's comment. Shout out to our guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did that on mistake.
Oh, you're good. Says Maddie's cap game on point for show. Let me tell you something.
That's my guy, Unc.
If you think this is the best I've got, well, then we might have to have a segment every week. Matt's hat of the week.
Yeah, no. So you got to wear a different hat every week,
because there's levels to this, man.
Yeah,
this was literally sitting by my computer, and I was like, "Oh crap, my hair doesn't look that great today. Let me just throw a hat on real quick."
Yeah, the only reason why I don't have my hat on today, because my hair just got freshly twisted, so I look kind of decent.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's fire.
So I want to show it off. Gotta have the fresh lineup, face looking clean and clear. So gotta show the face off a little bit, let the skin tone marinate in all these lights in my face. But But no, like you're gonna have to have a have a hat on every week now. So
That's gonna be a thing.
and Unc is going to
requested it, so we're gonna make it happen.
Unc is gonna make it happen. So what I did was I streamed this show from my primary channel because I want the audience to start going over to Talk SEC with Matt and AP. Please go over to the channel. I'm gonna drop the link here in a second, so that way y'all know where y'all are going. Hit the subscribe button for me and my guy. This is our new show that we're getting off the ground.
And share it with
your friends. Share it with your peoples. Share it with your peoples. We want to grow this thing. This is not something that we are doing just for fun. I mean, of course we're doing it for fun, but we're taking this thing serious. We want to grow this thing out.
My goal is a minimum of 200 subs before football season.
Let's get it. Let's get to 200.
Minimum of 200 subs before football season.
Let's break that. So me and Matt are going to come here at least twice a week, and then we are planning on breaking down all the games. We'll have a post-game wrap-up show at some point too. So you guys, the content, as I say, will be contenting. We are here to feed the people. That's what we're here for.
We are people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We do it for the people, man.
We do it for the people. Do it for y'all. We're here for y'all. So go hit the like, hit the subscribe. Make sure you share to anybody who loves SEC football, whether it be Arkansas fans, Tennessee fans, Texas A&M fans, Texas fans, Ole Miss fans,
let Ole Miss fans
Mississippi State fans, Florida fans. We got a Florida fan that's a member on the primary channel. Make sure y'all go share this over to everybody. We want to get the word out for sure. So thank y'all for everybody that was in the chat. My guy David, thank you for Piercely jumping in, for Unc jumping in earlier. Thank y'all so much for all the love and support. We definitely appreciate y'all. And we will be back this Friday to talk about some of the high points of SEC Media Days, especially after King Lane Kiffin descends from his throne to grace the people with his presence. Because apparently they cannot get enough of him, and he hasn't even been there yet.
Yeah, he hasn't even arrived in Tampa Bay, and they can't get enough of the guy.
Like dominating the headlines. The common thread line was LSU and Lane Kiffin. For now, 3 days. Well, 2 days. No, it started Monday. So
it's 3 days.
It's 3 days.
Absolutely unreal.
Thanks, Piercely. Definitely appreciate the support, brother. We're going to get on out of here. Let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday. I think I'm going to go see the Odyssey and let my wife fall asleep next to me.
I love that. I'm going to go eat a sandwich because that's all I'm allowed to have from my doctor because I'm getting a camera shoved down my throat tomorrow.
Yeah. You can't, and then you better eat until 7 because after that you're cooked, bud.
Yeah. You're damn right.
You can live vicariously through me. I'll eat something for you at 7:01.
Appreciate you. Big greasy bowl of popcorn.
I got your back, B. I got your back, dog.
I appreciate
I love y'all. We out.